Hi everyone. So finally the AIMS exam is over, and as usual, lot of mixed opinions. Some people have found the paper very tough. Some people were found it to be moderate. Yeah, the few subjects which were very difficult, like orthopedics, as it was one subject which was asked in a slightly different way. FMT was difficult. Some people have considered the paper as lengthy. So AIMS is known to give these surprises and these bouncers. So we all have to be prepared. But one thing is sure, that as students have told us that lot of repeat questions were there. So that strengthened the importance of doing previous year topics. So before I start talking about the radiology recall, I will recommend all of you to go with the previous year topics for whichever exam that you are going. NEET is around the corner. We do not have much of a time, but still I will recommend all of you that please make sure that you are very thorough with the previous year paper. Okay, so I will be discussing some radiology recalls with you, as there is always a challenge with the recall. What I am telling you, the answer is on the basis of the language of the question and the image that has been shown to me. However, I would request all of you, those who have given the paper, that please tell me if there was a change in the language of the question or the choices, or the image was different, because the moment I change the language or I change the choices or I change the image, the answer is gonna be different. Okay, so please write it in the comment section if you see there is any change, and then we can do some brainstorming on that. So this was one question which was a pretty straightforward question. I think most of the student did it right. It was something that there was a middle-aged 30-year-old patient who was hit by a bull, and then presented with some abdominal pain and obstipation along with nausea and vomiting. He was initially stabilized, but then presented with increased pain. And a key point was, on examination, the abdomen was found to be rigid. The chest X-ray was given, and there was air under diaphragm. So the answer is hollow viscous perforation. There was one more choice as a subdiaphragmatic abscess, but I think it was a clear-cut question. History and everything is pointing towards that this is hollow viscous perforation, a case of a perforation peritonitis. Next question was a straightforward question. There was an image that was given. I think it was the thyroid ultrasound that was shown to you. Different structures were marked, and the only question was identify the image. If anybody has attended any radiology class, does not matter where, I think that student has done that particular question correct, and the answer was nothing but ultrasound. There was one question that was there on the CORAD. If you are a regular viewer of my YouTube channel, I have spoken a lot about the CORAD. So three choices I could pick up. CORAD 0 was normal lung. No, that is wrong. CORAD 1 is considered as normal lung, which is there with all the RAD system that we have discussed. CORAD 5 is yes, it is considered to be typical of COVID. Pleural thickening is a feature of COVID. No pleural thickening, pleural effusion. These are the findings that are not commonly seen in the COVID. If you do not know CORAD, please go back to the channel, and you're gonna see lot of questions or discussions related to the COVID that I've discussed on the channel. Double bleb sign on the USG is due to, it's a repeat question from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, INI-CT, amnion and yolk sac. I don't think there is anything that we need to discuss in this question. There was one question, and it was, which of the following modalities are used for the diagnosis of placenta accreta? The choices that I could gather was ultrasound, MRI, angiography, and radiography. And it was a question like only one is true, 1 and 2 are true, 2 and 3 are true, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are true. So according to me, please remember, among these, if I just do a permutation and combination, I feel ultrasound and MRI should be the answer. So, and the way the choices were structured, I have spoken to few people, and they have told me that that is how they were structured. There were no choice which is fitting into this. The answer should be ultrasound and MRI, if this was the way that the choices were given. However, I would appreciate if you write into the comment section that if there was a difference in the choices. A 56-year-old with a surgically obstructive jaundice has a distended gallbladder and dilated CBD and intrahepatic biliary radicals. No stone was identified on ultrasound. CT confirmed the findings. Which of the following investigation will be most useful to localize the cause? So somehow this is how the question was structured. According to me, the examiner is trying to give you the diagnosis of periampullary cancer, and the choices were endoscopic ultrasound, percutaneous tube cholangiogram, or an MRI. Some people have said ERCP was given in the choice, whereas some people have said it was an endoscopic ultrasound that was given in the choice. If the examiner is pointing or going more towards the diagnosis of periampullary cancer, I feel an endoscopic ultrasound should have been the best possible answer from the choices that have been given. However, if I change the language or if I change the choices, answer is gonna be different. This was one question, which was simple question, which of the following is the most radio resistant phase of the cell cycle? If you have attended our classes, I think the one very important list that I tell to everybody to read is the radio sensitive and radio resistant. We categorically have written that the S phase is the most radio resistant phase of the cell cycle. I don't think there is any doubt. If the examiner would have asked most radio sensitive, then among these choices, then the answer would have been M phase. But since the examiners are radio resistant, it should be S phase. This was another question where there was an image that was given where the fundic bubble was supposed to be placed much higher into the, and it was a trauma case, and it was a case of a trauma, and the stomach bubble was placed much higher into the thorax, and the question was, the following procedure would be contraindicated. I mean, exact language I could not gather, but I feel that it could be a diaphragmatic injury with the stomach has herniated into the thorax. So I feel that an intra ICD tube drainage should not be done, because this is not a pneumothorax where you're going to put an ICD tube. If you're going to put an ICD tube, you may injure the stomach, which is the fundic bubble which is lying over there. However, again, as I said, if the image was different, then probably the answer will change. So I would request if you can share some comments on this particular question. This was a straightforward question. A 10-week primary gravida with bleeding per vaginum, and on PV the uterus was larger than the age, and ultrasound shows bulky uterus with cystic lucencies, not exactly but almost like a snowstorm pattern. So I don't think it will be anything else but a hydatidiform mole. There was another question which was, AIIMS is known to ask the CT of the PNS. We have spoken about it a lot of time. Identify the anatomical variant shown in the CT scan. Again, totally depend on what variant was shown, but these were the choices that I could gather: pneumatized superior turbinae, Onodi cell, Heller cell, and concha bullosa. So if this was the image, the answer should be pneumatized superior turbinae. Obviously, it will not be Onodi cell, that will be much more posterior. Heller cell will be much more lateral, and concha bullosa is the middle turbinae, not the superior turbinae. So this should the pneumatized middle turbinae. So this is the pneumatized superior turbinae as shown in this particular image. This was slightly confusing question. I could not gather the exact image. A 76-year-old female presented with epistaxis, and a coronal image was given. Some people have said it was a CT image, some people have said this is an MRI image. The choices that I could gather was esthesioneuroblastoma, inverted papilloma, juvenile nasopharyngeal angiofibroma, or maxillary sinus cancer. Now, if I want to look at this particular question, I will say 76-year-old female, JNA is usually out. Inverted papilloma is again smoking, etc. These histories are not given. Now, examiner has given you a coronal section. I feel that the examiner must be trying to show you the erosion of the cribriform plate and the lesion going into the brain parenchyma. If it's an MRI that is given, no doubt the answer has to be esthesioneuroblastoma. Usually maxillary sinus cancer, if somebody wants to give you, they should show you a transfer section, because they want to show you the erosion of the maxillary sinus, but it's not mandatory. A coronal section can also show the erosion of the maxillary sinus. If this was the image, the answer has to be esthesioneuroblastoma. However, if the maxillary sinus is eroded, then the answer should be maxillary sinus cancer. So that's all about the radiology related questions that I could gather. I would be happy if some of you wants to do the corrections and can help me in getting a better image or the better choices. Then probably we can do some brainstorming. Wish you all the best for the result ahead.